here at the police officer's wife, and I was advised to get an aisle seat for this one because it's 3 hours long and I've heard it's very slow, so if it is and it's really boring, I'm out of here. I'm not going to waste time. So I'll be back with my review later. Okay, bye. Hi guys, this is my review of the film The Police Officer's Wife. I had actually done a review of this earlier, but I did it in a coffee shop, and when I watched the video later on, there was way too much background noise. So I'm a perfectionist. I'm going to do it over again. I hope I remember all the points that I made in that first review, because I made a lot of good points, and I want to make sure that I get to them all again. So hopefully I don't forget the stuff I said before. Okay, so first of all, I'll say that this is a German film. I will put all the info below, the name of the director and main actors. It was a long movie, 3-hour-long movie, and it was done in 59 chapters. And by that, I mean chapters, meaning that every chapter had, like at the beginning, it said, beginning of chapter 1, end of chapter 1, only in German. So it said, Anfang, Kapital 1, and End, Capital 2, and so on, all the way to 59. So, yeah, this was a long movie. It was about a police officer, young blonde police officer, looked like maybe in his 30s, and his wife and their beautiful, adorable young little child named Clara, who looked to be about 4 or 5 years old. She was just adorable. Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to mention in my last review is one thing about European movies that I really notice is there's so many amazing performances by little children. Like, they just seem natural, like natural actors. It's quite amazing. I've seen this so many times. Anyway, I wanted to make that point. Forgot that in my last one. Okay, but anyway, so this movie is about this police officer. He's married, has a young daughter, and his wife. And when the movie starts off, it appears that everything is very wholesome and rosy on the surface. They have this nice little apartment. It's very clean, orderly. One of the first scenes, you see them go out to the forest together, and they're doing a little Easter egg hunt. He hides the Easter eggs for their daughter. She goes and finds them. It's all very sweet and nice and familial and all that. But we soon realize that this guy is extremely messed up. Now, whether this guy has like post-traumatic stress disorder from his job, whether it's just like job pressure, whatever, this guy just goes into like periodic rages where he'll just like freak out and start beating his wife for no reason. This really was a movie about domestic violence, but it was on like it wasn't your typical domestic violence movie. It wasn't like, every 2 seconds he's freaking out. Because the movie was so long, it was spaced out. Like, there was, I think, in the whole movie, I think there was maybe 2 or 3 incidents in these, like, 59 chapters where this guy just, like, freaks out and loses it and beats his wife. But there are endless shots of this poor woman with like bruises all over her body. I'd say for like 3/4 of the movie, you'll see like, because she's always wearing like tank tops and stuff, so you'll see bruises on her shoulders, bruises on her arms or on her back, on her legs, on her stomach. She's just covered in bruises all the time. And of course, their little girl witnesses this, like these periodic bouts where this guy just goes crazy, goes insane. And obviously this has an effect on her. Trouble sleeping and, just little anxiety here and there. And the wife is like this extremely docile, devoted mother. The scenes with her and the little girl are really nice. Like the way that she spends time with her and plays with her and like plants a little garden with her and talks to her about like these animals and shows her all like animals and stuff. It's really sweet. And even at times the guy can be okay, but I mean for the most part he's just a total fucking asshole, idiot, prick. He's just a jerk. And I mean, not only does he beat on her, but I mean, he also like psychologically humiliates her emotionally, even like gets his daughter in on it. Like they laugh at her once and, she's crying. She's really upset. I mean, she's living a nightmare. The reality is that these people have a shambles of a marriage. It's not, a healthy relationship, obviously. It's extremely sick and warped. But another point I have to make is there's this weird thing going on between the two of them. Like a lot of so they have a little girl, so obviously they're going to be telling her nursery rhymes and singing songs with her and stuff. But what was weird about it is there were a couple of scenes in the movie with both of them, both him and her, where he's like in his cop car and he's singing this nursery rhyme to himself, and I'm like, oh, like what the hell is that? That's really weird. And then there's another scene where she's doing it. So it's like the two of them are kind of like they're almost like children themselves, you know, like they're in Arrested Development, and they're almost like they're like in La La Land, the both of them. Neither of them seem to realize the reality of their situation. They're both in denial. They're both like just completely, you know, just deluding themselves into thinking that their lives are normal when they're really just, you know, sick and unhealthy and, you know, violent and destructive and all that. So it was really weird, and they play like these like little games together and stuff. It's really like they're little children themselves. And they're really the only characters in this movie are the mother, the father, and the child, other than this one other guy, and it's an old man. And I could not figure this out. There's like 2 or 3 segments where you just see this old man, and I'm trying to figure out who is this guy. He never says a word. There's no dialogue from this man. You just see like a close-up of him where he's like in one shot he's like in this bleak snowy field by himself, and he turns around and he looks at the camera and he looks like really depressed. And then there's a couple of others where he's alone in this like little apartment, and he's either cooking something for himself, or he's eating, or he's like falling asleep in his chair. So I'm kind of thinking, who is this guy? Like, we never know. It could either be this guy's father. I thought maybe it's this guy's father. Or what I really think now, after having seen the film, is that this old man was kind of a projection of the police officer in the future. Like, that's how he was going to end up, being this old man all by himself, all alone. So that's my guess. You know, I don't know whether I'm correct or not, but that's kind of the way I interpreted it. And so yeah, like I said, that's the basic premise of the movie. Like, not that much happens. This movie is very, very much into minutia. I mean, there's countless scenes where people are like getting dressed and they're pulling on, and I mean laboriously, like, you know, they're putting on their socks, they're putting on their pants, they're putting on their shirt, buttoning up their shirts. You know, like just every little detail, which, you know, I don't mind that. But when you have, like, you know, a 3-4 hour movie, it can get a little bit much sometimes, like a little bit excessive. But obviously the director paid like painstaking detail to the story. I guess he really, really wanted to make the point. He really wanted to make a movie about domestic violence and how it has an effect on the children and how it affects, you know, the marriage and everything. And I think the reason that he drew it out and, you know, delineated these characters so well, and it seemed like every moment of their lives was just to kind of let you be kind of like an outsider looking in and seeing how this violence affects his family and everything, you know. And so yeah, it was a really, really good film. Too long, I think. I wish it would have been shorter. You know, I'm sure it could have been accomplished if it would have been shorter, but I guess he chose to do it in this very slow, snail's pace kind of way. So if you're the kind of person who can really appreciate a high quality film that's slow, that's very, very meticulous and detailed, and if you like, you know, a slow pace, then you'll really enjoy this. But I mean, if you have like a short attention span, if you get bored easily, if you like movies with a lot of action, this is definitely not the movie for you, because it's very, very slow and very, very subtle and you know, very, very detailed. But, you know, I liked it. I would definitely give it a thumbs up. It was very, very well done. Quite fascinating. But you know, like I said, it was so long and drawn out, you know. But, you know, in a way that's that's good too. You know, it all depends on what kind of a movie watcher you are. If a movie is done really well, I don't mind sitting there and watching all these little kind of what seem like mundane details, you know. When it's done really well, it can be quite fascinating, and I found it with that. I found it with this film. So I think I said everything I wanted to say here. Yeah. This was not your average domestic violence movie. It was they paid a lot of attention to the child in this movie, the effect of the violence in this family on the child. Oh yeah, sorry, another thing I wanted to say is the woman in this movie, the wife, she perfectly portrayed a woman who is like caught up in the cycle of domestic violence, like the kind of woman who will stay and stay. It never seemed to ever occur to her to leave the situation. And I've known women like this. I've had at least one friend who was in a relationship like this. And, you know, that's not me. Believe me, I could never be a woman like that. Anybody ever laid their hand on me, they'd be walking away with their balls in their hand. You know, seriously, it would not happen. But there are some women who are more prone to this kind of stuff. You know, a lot of women seem to fall into these cycles, or they seem to keep attracting these violent men and staying in the relationship and never leaving, and that was definitely the case with her. And there was one scene in particular where she only ever got mad once, the wife, and when he was beating her, and that was near the end. And she finally got pissed off and said, you know, get out of here, why don't you leave? Like, get out of here already, like, finally leave me. And then so he gets up to leave, and then a second later she's running over to the guy and grabbing onto his leg and saying, no, 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 please don't go, please stay, I didn't mean it, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So, you know that she's never ever going to leave this in this situation. She's one of these women who is just completely codependent on this guy. You know, she'll never leave. And so yeah, that's another point I wanted to make. And she was really good, the wife, the lead actress. They were all good, but her in particular, I really found fascinating. So yeah, that is my review of The Police Officer's Wife. Very long movie, not for everybody's taste because of the slow pace, but if you can appreciate that, if you're willing to stick it out, it can be a really rewarding experience to see a film like that. I found it quite rewarding, and I enjoyed it, so I would give it a thumbs up. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.